So for me, I feel really privileged to have been asked to be MC, and I know Lou feels the same. And to be up here with Lou is incredible. My name's Sara Harris. And before Forever, as you heard Bob say, I was in the military. I did 12 years. I feel very humble and privileged to serve for the country. I've been to war, yes, I know, very girly. Always told off for having nail varnish on. But for me, it was something that I knew I wanted to do. I've traveled the world and I've been to war. In 2000, I was very humbled and privileged to receive an MBE in the New Year's Honours List. And I was the youngest person at the time to ever receive the award. Then in 2001, I left that security comfort of what I knew for 12 years and went into that big bad world called Civvy Street. Now, what I did in the military, the skill wasn't transferable because I was used to planning where we were going to bomb. So I had to find a skill that maybe I could put my hand to and learn. I went into recruitment. Wasn't really something that I really knew, but I went into the financial services and recruited for mergers and acquisitions. 6 months in, I actually realized it wasn't for me. And then I fell into the telecommunications sector where I spent the last 13 years of my career. So I am a corporate girl, and I've loved what I've done. I've traveled the world. I've been to places that you and I will dream of. I've had my own jet, well, not my own jet, but company jet. And it's quite hard to go right after you've had a jet. You're sort of beck and call. And I didn't have time. I worked a 90-hour week. But I loved what I did. So if there's any of you sat out there today sort of saying, I don't have time, you do. What you've got to do is you've got to create that time. So I quickly decided in 2009, when Poppy was born, our beautiful daughter, that life had to change. I couldn't be mummy and work a corporate career to the degree I did. So I got in touch with Ange. She shared with me an amazing product in 2010. So Ange is my mentor and my friend. And I used the amazing Clean 9. Had amazing results. And it was quite interesting. She said to me on the back of it, you need to join. And I went, hell no. And I said no for 3 reasons. I thought it was purely selling a product. I was already a significant 6-figure income earner. And I share that with you to press upon you that this business is for anyone and everyone. Don't make that call that someone earns a lot of money and they don't need the opportunity. It'll be the time that they need. So I didn't want to sell either, because that's what I thought it was. So I said no for 2.5 years. So I'm sure some of you out there will have said no and then will have joined. What changed, you'll think? Well, I watched Ange build this incredible business through social media, and she had the thing that I wanted, and that was time. So one evening in January 2013, I literally listened in to an online business presentation because I actually didn't know there was one in person. And I listened in, and my husband said, it's a no-brainer. What you're doing, it's a half a pair of Louboutins. You know, £199, it's not a lot of money. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a lot of money, but when you're earning a good income, it's something you could invest for your future. So I joined that night, and I literally worked this business very, very part-time. I fitted it into the nooks and crannies. Now, a top tip is, be planned with your business. If you are short of time, know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. And the other key thing is to make sure you're doing the income-producing activity. So I set to work, and I got to manage within 6 months. And then at that point, I said, right, I'm going to set the goal of leaving corporate in 2015 in the April. I actually walked away from my career on the 8th of October 2014. So now I have got that time. I work my business around our daughter. I am the mummy that can do all the school runs, all the drop-offs, and go to all the coffee mornings or whatever it is. For me, it wasn't about the income per se, it was about time, because anyone that's got children, you know how quickly they grow up. So we've achieved everything on the marketing plan. We feel really humbled and privileged to be flown around the world by Rex and this incredible company. And what I'd say is, if you're really serious about your business, You can all make this a success. You've just got to be committed to you. Don't look left, don't look right, don't look behind, look forward and focus on your own plan. Lou.
Thank you, Sara. So, how exciting is it to be here today? So, as Sara said, we're really, really privileged and honoured to be your MCs today. So, my name's Louise Barnacle, and I am 40 years old. I'm not quite sure how that happened. And I'm also mum to Molly with my partner, Phil. So prior to Forever, I'd always worked in restaurants. My whole life, I'd been a restaurant manager. I then, at the age of 23, I bought a restaurant over in Mallorca. Realised quite quickly I'd actually bought myself a 15-hour-a-day job. I came back to the UK and I was the manager for the Michelin star Raymond Blanc. So I kind of worked my way up the ladder, so to speak, but there was no place else for me to go. So I was a bit stuck with the whole work-life balance. If anybody in here, anybody in catering would know, it's 60, 90 hours a week. It's weekends, evenings, it's completely unsociable hours. So my last position was that I had a pub in Richmond in London. And while I was in that pub, I was literally still doing 15-hour shifts until the day I gave birth. So that was just never going to carry on. So I had a separate business as well alongside that with promotional girls in nightclubs. And that kept me up till 3 o'clock in the morning most evenings. So I was like this crazy, crazy busy person. And always on the lookout for something, that kind of amazing work-life balance business. So lucky for me, my best friend is a lady I'm sure you all know, Ange Lockram. And Ange and I have been best friends since we were 14 at school. We lived on the same street. I've actually just moved back to that street. And we lived on the same street and we grew up together. So Ange didn't tell me about Forever for 2 years. So she sold me Clean Nines. I absolutely loved the weight loss program. My mum drank the gel and had amazing results. But she didn't actually show me the business model. And that was because she felt that she would be it would be pressure on our friendship if I'd have said no, or that I might perceive that she was going to earn money out of me, which is crazy because, of course, as soon as I saw the business model properly, I was like, oh my gosh, I would have joined 2 years ago. So Ange didn't show me the business model. What she did was she invited me to go to Sardinia. She said, come along, you can get drunk by the pool, I'll go to the trainings, you can just relax for a few days. So of course I went on the holiday, thinking I was going on a holiday. But at the airport, before we went, she gave me Rolf Kipp's book. So my first tip here is if anybody hasn't read this book, The Most Beautiful Business on Earth, it's available at Knowledge is King out in the hallway. So Ange gave me this book, and I read it, I barely slept. And of course, I went to Sardinia to completely soak up all of the trainings, all of the inspiring people that we were meeting, and got back to work as soon as we got back to the UK. So I came off the plane. I didn't go home. I actually went and did my first one-to-one. And I was obsessed with achieving Dallas as the next Eagle incentive. So is anybody here a similar age remembers Dallas, the TV show? Few hands? Good. So Forever owned South Fork Ranch. So if you didn't know that, I was like literally, oh my gosh, I need to get to South Fork. So I worked out that I needed to rush to manager position to be able to qualify as an Eagle myself. So I rushed to manager, I got to manager in 6.5 weeks, and then obviously had to learn the skills following that on. But what I did was I literally bought 30 more copies of the book, of Rolf Kipp's book, and I literally handed them out to my friends. And I borrowed one of Jane Leach's sayings, which is, Ange didn't show me, so I have to show you. I wouldn't be your friend if I didn't show you the business. So, second tip, always ask your best friend. Write that down. So, fast forwarding now, I've been in the business 3.5 years. And life has just changed dramatically for us. Within 18 months, I was able to give up my other business, the one that kept me up till 3 in the mornings. And I get to do the school run. I get to be the mum that I want to be. And for me, I just find that Forever is just the most generous company. You know, within 10 months, by going for Eagle, I achieved car plan, you know, within 10 months winning a car. And it's, you know, it's the kind of thing that if you've come from a day job, you know, nobody ever even gave me a pat on the back with being a restaurant manager. And certainly never any well dones when you're your own boss. So for me, it's the generosity of the company, but it's not about the holidays. I mean, I was counting up last night. I've been on 11 different trips with Forever already, which is incredible. It's amazing I get to do that with my best friend. But for me, it's about the time. Like Sara said, when you're a parent, it's such a no-brainer because you get to do all those mum things. You know, when children are off sick, you haven't got to make those awful calls. You haven't got to ask your boss to go home. So for me, it's been the life-changing stage that I get to spend with my daughter. Thank you.